Many of the biggest names in sports say there was no one bigger than Ali. Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Tiger Woods, and Derek Jeter all say he was the greatest. Their tributes illustrate how Ali's fame went far beyond boxing. Our special correspondent James Brown was also inspired by Ali's example. JB, good morning.
Charlie, you know, looking at all of that, what a transcendent figure he was. And I know oftentimes people say there will never be another like him, but you know what? This may well be true in the case of Muhammad Ali.
You say that because?
Well, you know what? Because he transcended sport. Look, as far as athletes are concerned, they had the highest regard for him because he was the best in his sport. But it transcended that because of the depth of convictions of the man. Hey, even that brash marketing exterior, if you will, that came, as you well know, Charlie, from the wrestler, Gorgeous George. So he was a showman in that regard, but off camera, out of the spotlight, he was a quiet, pensive man. And as I listened to that array of sound bites and all that he was about, he called himself a functional illiterate because of how poorly he did in school. They're going to have to redefine what a functional illiterate was because the guy was brilliant.
One of the nicest tributes I heard, James, over the weekend, somebody said he didn't set out to change the world. It's just that the world changed because he said and did what he thought was right. It's so unusual for a black man to speak out at that time. He was 22. Brash, arrogant, and now the people that vilified ended up thinking that he was a hero. What do you say about that?
Gail, right on point, the way you described it. I couldn't say it any better. And that's why he became such a beloved character, because you're right. Early on, he was reviled because of his stance about the Vietnam War, but it was the depth of his convictions. And that's why he was stripped of his title, was not able to box for some 3 years. Alvin Patrick, my producer, and I were talking about this. And for 5 decades, this guy was the best known athlete around the world, and more than just an athlete. So while others may say Michael Jordan and Babe Ruth, and respectfully, I understand why they may mention them, there's no doubt in my mind it was Ali who was the best known. And this was before, as Patrick pointed out, Alvin Patrick pointed out, before Instagram, before Facebook and Twitter. This guy, he flew to those places. He was well known around the globe.
But he paid a big price for speaking out.
Yeah, he did, but that also just because that's why people like him and respect him, even if they disagree with his position, because he had the strength of conviction that it cost him at the height of his career, boxing for 3 years and being stripped of his title. But you have respect for somebody who will stand on their beliefs, Gail.
He was as agile with his words as he was in the ring, JB. I mean, that made him so likable, and that confidence, which I think added to his appeal.
Which is why I use the word brilliant to describe him, even though he called himself a functional illiterate. Look, the guy was masterful. As I listened to, if you will, the rapping that he did before rap became popular, before he fought Sonny Liston, he was flat out scared, he being Ali, and that's why he was so hyper in the ring. They thought the guy had lost his mind. And certainly the same way as I listened to George Foreman having fun with you guys. By the way, he did forget to talk about Nora's beauty as well. He complimented Charlie. He complimented Gail, but he's got to throw Nora in there. But the guy was frightened when he went in the ring, but he was always well prepared.
What did he mean to you personally? Anything?
You know what? The last time I saw him, Gail, was 8 years ago at Fight Night in Arizona. He was always respectful of other people, but he had a regal air about himself, but he also showed the greatest degree of respect for all others as well. And I simply revered him because of who he was.
JB, thank you. Were especially good for us this morning and yesterday on Sunday morning. Very eloquent, and we thank you.
Yeah,
Charlie, thank you very much. God bless you and Gail and Nora.